knew that name Self-Deception rang a bell. It took me a minute to understand why exactly. I mean, already walking into this, there's some sense of familiarity of Feeding Demons with the Dead by April credit, and this being the follow-up to the first unveiled track off of the Trilogy EP with Break My Fall, and our first step into it with Hurricane. I knew it would be promising. Again, that's considering not just the Dead by April credit, who I've followed for a number of years, but The Day We Left Earth as well. Beautiful collaboration, right? We think back on a Wasteland, and that was a wonderful experience, and Hurricane was, as I called it, a great Part 2 follow-up, at least by my determination, and made for several fun repeat listens with a beautiful bluntness of direction, and some new traits for Dead by April. Again, that hip-hop route really stuck out to me. Now, Feeding Demons, I do still sit in the territory of being really excited for the title piece off the EP with Break My Fall. That preview, just, again, there's something about that key choice that really stuck to me, but I'm sure Feeding Demons will also delight. Now that I know exactly why I recognize the name Self-Deception, recent attribution, I forget oh no, I remember exactly where it was. Remember Dynasty and our journey with them, and I recognized that number that was featured on The Dark Delight from Sound of Silence featuring GG6, a favorite of mine from Amaranth, and I told you because of his departure from the group for understandable circumstances, but still bittersweet. The guy is incredible. As an unclean vocalist, I love him. In the process of covering that piece, which had been post-covering a good selection of Amaranth works, I did attribute it would be a future destination to investigate some of his collaborative works that I'd seen advertised, I believe, on primarily his Instagram and some other facets. But in the preparation of editing that from Sound of Silence, I did look up where exactly he appeared, and the minute I saw the cover art, I knew definitively that's how I know Self-Deception. So I will give you a preview as to where we're going in the future, very near future, in fact. Post-covering this, I will recognize that collaboration with the eventual promise to you, if Phase 2's loaded, but maybe I can, what I'm covering, I organize it in phases, and this one's, in terms of introducing myself to many new artists and updating myself with familiarized names, this is a exorbitant list, but maybe at some point I can fit in Self-Deception, or that'll be placed definitively in Phase 3, I don't know yet, but the promise will be to you right now that more Self-Deception exposure and introduction is coming. This being the first taste with, State of Elysium being the follow-up, not to the Dead by April EP, but to our first introduction of Self-Deception. But I figured that'd be kind of fun. Like, I knew these guys rang a bell, and the minute I saw the cover art, I'm like, oh, that's it. I featured that image before, but this one really excites me. I mean, I might still be holding out for Break My Fall. I've seen a lot of our people have also a similar regard to that, though anything from Dead by April I'm game for. Again, following this group for a long time on my end, even more so than when I began this self-led initiation journey in terms of mutual introductions to many European talents, and I've spoken about space fondly within the metal market. It truly is an advantageous space for any long-time or budding metal fan. And if you happen to be of initiation standing with their work, again, Swedish metal origin, if you're not familiar, I do recommend you dig back into their catalog, and maybe as well Self-Deception. We're going to see together, I would imagine so, because at least the preview I've gotten via the band's socials, I couldn't miss them. They were circulating like crazy. I have heard, I believe, the chorus section to this, and it sounded really good. Like, it's just on fire. Even though, again, I can already tell distinctive voice with this new Dead by April EP. We might return to the roots with Break My Fall, and there's still some shades that come through, but a bit of a facelift and experimentation, one that I find quite enjoyable. So if you've not yet humored Dead by April, and I welcome everybody, by the way, longtime fans like myself or initiate fans, I'm not trying to speak for you on where you'll end up in destination, it's just my presumption that's what the European market commands. I think you'll be on a road right after if I want to go look at these guys at a deeper level. Let Feeding Demons serve as the introduction. I love the name, by the way. It's such a strong number in terms of, at the very least, pitch on theme. I think this is going to speak well to us, or especially me. No, I can already sense maybe possible directions, but we're going to enjoy this together for a first-time witness. As music, I think, is best enjoyed that way, and Dead by April, certainly no exception, but with this new, fresh face on some of their numbers, I'm looking forward to seeing this new energy come to life, even more so post-Hurricane. There was a bit of an originalist veneer that manifested with that number, but let's expand it now with Feeding Demons, perhaps. There's such a nice pulse to it, too. Higher piercings during the electronic cues. It is like Dead by April, slightly evolved. It feels that way.
This work of art of needle marks is hard to come by. Paint like a Paula gets a map at night. She never smiles unless
Not a bad voice for Fit Dead by April. Those lyrics, though, what a picture. This is fantastic. Here we go. This is the chorus. Yeah, I love it. Perfect nail. Great picture on the narrative here. I love this theme. You're speaking my language. I love anything of cathartic energy, and this is told well. The interplay in vocals works well. The development as we are introduced to the chorus is so cool with this one. The mixture of stylings, I don't know. I didn't give Self-Deception a deep look, so this is very much a fresh taste, and even on genre. But I already like the implications of where we're going. For Dead by April, though, it works perfectly in the punk voice. I love the flow on this one. The picture on this one is great, I think. What a fun track, though, in terms of energy. I mean, again, we're considering two different moods here. What is Self-Deception's primary genre focus? Let me see if I can get a rough look at this really quickly, just to make sure I'm crediting this right. Because I'm going to say, at least from what I'm hearing here, they reside more in like a punk, rock, hip-hop beat territory, certainly on the electronic vein, which again is a perfect intersection to Dead by April, given they so often employ electronic tones interwoven into metal. I don't want the definition of Self-Deception. That's not what I'm looking at. Are they from Stockholm in Sweden? Possibly. Let me see if a track is credited. Well, they don't list it there. The page I'm referencing, I don't normally like to cite Wikipedia as a source, just even on a quick reference. It's the first thing I pulled up. I believe that's the group that I'm looking at. Oh, here we go. Band website. The mood totally fits on Intersection, though, in terms of similar traits. Dead by April and Self-Deception make for a wonderful hybrid. I believe I did read, too, that they performed together. That would make sense with the footage we just saw. I believe, yeah. I think the two intersected. Wow, this is... Okay, there's a lot of story here. I mean, that's a lot of text to look at in terms of just a rough look, so I'll determine this later. The mood on genre focus between the two groups, I think, is a brilliant interplay with this. The mood of a song, the key choice, the electronic balance, the control over certain instrumentals, too, with that beat, that pulse pattern, fantastic. The unclean intersection, too, I absolutely loved. The vocal... I do like the switch, by the way. I think it's in the second verse. We shift from... Who's their lead vocalist? And since this Wikipedia page I'm looking at is displayed in a foreign language that I cannot read, I'm going to attempt to get determination so my facts are all correct elsewhere. Self-Deception's lead singer, Andreas Clark, yes. The departure roles within the different verse constructions between him and Pontus, the switching of roles specifically from, I believe, Andreas in the first verse and then switching to Pontus in the second. And then, of course, intermixing within the construction of a chorus with Christopher, it is at the lower range. I love it. I love the voice here with this one. But the switching of roles really worked. Again, like I said, solid interplay between these two groups. I think is a general good meshing, like the other collaborations have been in the past. As exemplary, for example, as I said, The Day We Left Earth was with Dead by April. Self-Deception, same thing. Although, okay. I would say it's actually an equal balance between the three in terms of similar moods, though Dead by April and Self-Deception, I believe, are both of Swedish origin. But The Day We Left Earth is, well, kind of. They're Scandinavian, at least by the official terminology I found, but I put them into so many different spaces, because I saw them credited in all different spaces elsewhere. Scandinavian, though, generally. But there's a common intersection with these groups in terms of specific styling of what I sense in a similar voice. Each really connects for such a tight EP construction that, again, feels a bit experimental on Dead by April familiarity for someone like me, who's been following them again since it would have been a little after Let the World Know came out. So I forget exactly how many years it's been, but it's been a long time. You still get that metal root that you love, and a more aggressive hip-hop, rap patterned vocal presence on specifically the clean and the narrative, by the way. What a visceral picture. I'm not going to speak from a perspective of declared intention because I don't have that. I'm part of where the group is writing its subject. It might be intended to be rather broad and generalized depending on viewer individual standing, how it applies. But that intro line, and that chorus is delivered really well, by the way. Try making friends of a monster with the monster in me, or is it a monster? The monster. This time I'm building a wall around the demon I feed. I love that. Metaphorical, but you speak my language immediately in terms of a cathartic energy. That one really clicks. But the way that's introduced, this work of art of needle marks is hard to come by. What a dramatic presentation. And to equate that, paint like a Pollock. I've never heard it described that way. Already, again, I'm starting to get a bit of a vibe on perhaps potential directions of the song, and I think if maybe I'm going down that path, that is a complementary comparison, one that's quite interesting, but imagines it in a bit of a different way, rather unusual, but I've never heard that analogy made before. I love fresh wording like that. Really entertaining piece. Engaging narrative, fun mood. I love energetic pieces, so automatically, and of course with the Dead by April credit, I knew this would deliver, and plus this is our second debut off the EP, which arrived wonderfully, but on the development, ooh, beautiful. And a first introduction to Self-Deception, not the last. Again, what I've planned currently, eventually, yes, way more to come, but for now, that would be, again, what is the name of the song? State of Elysium. That's next. What a good first tasting, though. Now, that'll be Self-Deception specifically, so we'll be able to study, again, the directed focus on part of one of their own numbers, while the medley here, I think, works. And maybe, again, like I said, we're going to get a better perspective for Self-Deception in isolation and see what type of genre vehicle they typically go with. Maybe I'll find this on preparation, too, just on a final determination, but from what I'm witnessing right now with you, in complementary styles, it could be a fresh spin-off, right? Where it sounds quite natural, the Dead by April, even though I can, again, see distinctive shades that might imply the other band presence, or Dead by April intentionally employing a bit of a differentiated voice with this number from other ones on their library. But however you look at it, I think it is quite a good pairing. The collaborative associations within this EP are really gelling. This one, another beautiful debut. I'd love to hear if that sentiment is echoed with you down below. Of course, though, music is a subjective experience, so feel free to share any of your thoughts you have on the number and your point of approach if you wish to. Longtime fan, fresh introduction, whether it be to the credit of Dead by April or, like me, Self-Deception. I'd love to hear how you approach this one. Again, introductions are always fun in company, and Dead by April, I love covering their work, of course, but fresh introductions have a sweet spot for me. The networking process in terms of collaboration, specifically in terms of self-diving into the European rock and metal foray and learning new names, you take any chance you can get. Collaborations are a beautiful avenue to network in terms of access. Self-Deception? Fun first introduction. With a promising future, I think, in terms of our exposures based on that medley. More to come, and I can't wait for those experiences. Good first tease, though. I really liked this one, Feeding Demons, another fitting compliment to that EP, though we look forward to Break My Fall, of course, being the fulfillment of the entire vision of it in just a 3-number window. I predicted correctly, by the way, with the arrival of this one. I said possibility of November 10th. I was right. Not that I was bragging, I just said it was a possibility with, as I'm recording, so it took me a week to get around to this. Next week, we get the fulfillment. I can't wait for Break My Fall. But our pit stop here for Feeding Demons, great opportunity we get to share in the experience of a first exposure. I really liked that number. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.